Students, we can begin the presentation. Today we have, I think, Lavkesh's group first. Are they there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can, Lavkesh's group can start. You can share slides and begin your presentation.
Okay, ma'am. Let me
Just
share the
adhere to
screen.
the timing.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, shall we begin, ma'am?
Yes, you may begin, Lavkesh. Lavkesh Gautam, you may begin.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yatendra Chaudhary, and I will provide you the introduction part of the topic which is assigned to our group, that is the overview of the big data. Now, I will show you the structure of our presentation and what kind of things we are going to learn after finishing this presentation. So these are the topics which we are going to learn. And now I will tell you the answer or the first question which come in our mind, that is what is the big data. So big data is the term for a collection of data sets so large and complex, and this complex word is important here, that is it becomes difficult to process using one hand database management tools or traditional data processing applications. Now we are in the world of facial recognition, event prediction, and unparalleled customer segmentation powered by applications that can query massive data sets at lightning quick speeds. So this may be the reason, or this will be this is the reason of the big data. The trend to larger data sets is due to the additional information derivable from analysis of single large set of related data as compared to separate smaller set with the same total amount of data, allowing correlations to be found, like to spot business trends, determine quality of research, prevent diseases, link legal citations, combat crime, and determine real-time roadway traffic conditions. And now up to Ashutosh, who will discuss further. Thank you.
Now let us learn about the sources of big data. The first source we will learn is the media. Media is the most popular source of big data as it is self-broadcasted and crosses all physical and geographical barriers. Media includes social media and interactive platforms like Google, FB, Twitter, YouTube, etc. It also includes the generic media like images, videos, audios, and others. They provide qualitative as well as quantitative insights on every aspect of user interaction. For an example, Facebook handles 40 billion photos from its user base. Now, another important source is the database. Businesses today prefer to use an amalgamation of traditional and modern databases to acquire relevant big data. These databases provide for extraction of insights that are used to drive business profits. Now, coming on to IoT. IoT constitute a valuable source of big data. This data is usually generated from sensors that are connected to electronic devices. They even have the ability to provide real-time accurate information. Now learning about the machine data. It is that information which is generated by industrial equipments, sensors that are installed in machinery, and even web logs which track user behavior. This type of data is expected to grow with the growing use of sensors. For an example, a flight generates 240 terabytes of flight data in just 6 to 8 hours of flight. Now another important source is the cloud. Now, in today's world, companies have moved ahead of traditional data sources by shifting their data on the cloud. The main attribute of cloud computing is its flexibility and scalability, as big data can be sourced on public or private clouds. This makes clouds an efficient and economical data source. Now, talking about the web. The public web constitutes big data that is widespread and easily accessible. Data on the web or internet is commonly available to individuals and companies alike. Moreover, web services like Wikipedia provide free and quick information insights to everyone. Now I'll request Aram to take us further.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Next topic is characteristics of data. Big data lies at the intersection of three V's: volume, velocity, and variety. Volume is the amount of data generated by mobile phone, cameras, chips, etc. It is all the available data out there in blogs, social media, and other internet sites. There is ever-growing data of all types. It is not recorded in MBs or GBs, but in petabytes and exabytes. Just imagine converting 350 billion annual meter readings to better predict power consumption. Facebook alone stores, accesses, and analyzes more than 30 petabytes of user-generated data. Now over to Muaz.
Thank you, Arham. Now I will take up the second V, that is velocity. So velocity is how fast is that information coming into our systems, and based on the velocity of the information that we are dealing with, we need to understand how we are going to ingest, process, and retrieve that information. For instance, many types of data have a limited shelf life where their value can erode with time. For example, in retail, it's best to know which products are out of stock in terms of seconds or minutes so that the retailer can restock its products. Using real-time alerting, Walmart was able to identify a particular Halloween novelty cookie was popular in most of its stores, except two locations where it was not selling at all. A quick investigation revealed a simple stocking oversight meant the cookies were not yet on the store shelves. Lastly, the variety. The variety of big data refers to different sources of big data. Every big data is different, much like a snowflake. It can come in various formats such as images, videos, music, sensors, and so on. Structured data is highly organized and easiest to work with, as every piece of information is grouped into rows and columns, whereas unstructured data that is not specifically structured to be read by machines. A natural language such as French exhibits a great deal of variety, as there are a large number of ways to say the same thing. This is difficult for machines to understand. Now over to Lavkesh.
Now I will be covering the objective portion of the big data, that how big data serves the major objective to the businesses. The first one is analyzing the customer behavior. As we know, today each search, voice command and major purchases can be recorded. And every organization today maintains profile of their customer. From that data, hidden patterns can be drawn out, and in this way, the customer behavior can be analyzed. The second one is combining the multiple data source. As we know, in today's world, volume of data produced in today world is more complex in nature, and data is of varied form like voice, text, reviews, etc. It have a comprehensive picture. For having the integrated picture or comprehensive picture, we have to integrate the several sources of data. The third one is improving the customer services. As we know, big data is also used for providing the customer services and improving and providing them support. Once trained, a data-driven system can work with all existing channels, including voice, email, SMS, and many more often without human oversight. The fourth one is the generate additional revenue. With the use of big data, businesses can generate additional revenue. With the optimized solution and predictive analysis, data can be used to predict what might happen and prepare response in advance. This reduces the risk, and this can be translated into the better product and services. The last but not the least is the responsiveness to the market. Businesses can update its policies by taking into consideration the market conditions, patterns, and the past trends, and adopt changes in their operation accordingly. Now, Saad will take over.
So, thank you, Lavkesh. So now the question is, what are the big data technologies? So actually the big data technology is the utilized software that incorporates data mining, data storage, data sharing, data visualization. The comprehensive term embraces data framework, including the tools and techniques used to investigate and transform the data. Now, big data technologies can be split into two main categories, as you can see on the screen. Operational big data technologies, it indicates the generated amount of data on a daily basis, such as online transactions, social media, or any sort of data from a specific firm used for the analysis through big data technologies based software. Example, you can say online trading and purchasing from Amazon, Flipkart, or online ticket booking for flights or movies. Now, analytical big data technologies, it refers to advanced adaptation of big data technologies, a bit complicated in comparison to operational big data. The real investigation of massive data that is crucial for business decision comes under this part. Some examples covered in this domain are stock marketing, weather forecasting, etc. Now the figure shows the foremost big data technologies which trended over the last year. Among the top 5 were artificial intelligence, NoSQL database, R programming, data lakes, and predictive analysis. Now I'd like to invite Samir to continue from here.
Thank you, Saad. So now let us discuss about different phases of big data. As we know that information is the oil of the 21st century, and big data is the combustion engine of it. According to IBM International Business Machine Corporation, there are mainly four phases of big data. They are educate, explore, engage, and in the end, execute. If we see these phases one by one, then we will get to know that this first phase focuses on knowledge gathering and market observations. After completing the education phase, companies will develop a strategy and roadmap based on business needs and challenges. During the first phase, a business will pilot big data initiatives to validate value and requirements. And in the fourth phase, companies deploy two or more big data initiatives and will continue to apply advanced analytics. Over to Ahmed.
Thank you, Samir. Now I will explain types of big data. Big data is categorized into three different types. First is structured data. This type of data can be represented in the form of rows and columns, and it is stored in order. Nowadays, 20% of total existing data consists of structured data. Some examples are Excel records, web logs, database, etc. Second is unstructured data. This type of data has no clear format in storage. At least 80% of total existing data consists of unstructured data. Some examples are satellite images, videos, scientific data, etc. Third type is semi-structured data. This is basically a mix of structured and unstructured data. We can't store these data using traditional data format. Some examples are XML documents, JSON documents, logs file, etc. Now over to Sharik.
Thank you, Ahmed. Now moving into the depth of topic, let's see how big data analytics process work. So big data analytics refers to collecting, processing, cleaning, and analyzing large data sets to help organizations operationalize their big data. Let's see how data is collected. Data collection looks different for every organization. With today's technology, organizations can gather both structured and unstructured data from a variety of sources, like from cloud storage to mobile application and beyond. Some data will be stored in data warehouses, and raw or unstructured data that is too diverse or complex for a warehouse may be assigned metadata and stored in data lake. Now let's see how data is processed. Once data is collected and stored, it must be organized properly to get accurate results on analytical queries. One processing option, that is batch processing. It looks at large data blocks over time. Batch processing is useful when there is a longer turnaround time between collecting and analyzing data. Second one is stream processing. It looks at small batches of data at once, shortening the delay time between collection and analysis for quicker decision making. Now moving forward to clean data. Data, big or small, requires scrubbing to improve data quality and get stronger results. All data must be formatted correctly, and any duplicative or irrelevant data must be eliminated or accounted for. Dirty data can obscure and mislead, creating flawed insights. Now in final step, let's see how big data is analyzed. Getting big data into a usable state takes time. Once it's ready, advanced analytics processes can turn big data into big insights. These big data analysis methods include data mining, predictive analytics, and deep learning. Now, I would like to invite Tamkana for further discussions.
Thank you, Sharik. Talking about the benefit of big data, it is cost and time saving. Big data helps managers and business executives to make quicker, better, and informed business decisions. Big data provide massive information regarding customer, their taste and preferences. These insights can help creating new product and services. Big data can detect and deny fraudulent transactions. Moving on to the application of big data. Business firms uses big data from store inventory, local demographic, customer loyalty data to provide them with improved customer services. Big data provided in this sector include First Insight, Fujitsu. The banking and finance sector is marked with high risk and ever high competitiveness. Big data allows bank to take sophisticated risk. Security Exchange Commission uses big data to monitor financial market to restrict illegal trading. Big data provided in this sector include Quartet FS, Panoptical software. In the healthcare sector, better diagnosis, health staff scheduling, efficient health record access can be done using big data analytics. Umedica is the biggest big data provider in this sector. Talking about the transportation sector, government uses big data for traffic control, route planning, intelligence transport system, while individuals may use it for navigation, route planning to save time and fuel. Data is dominantly provided in this sector by Qualcomm. The communication, media, and entertainment industry uses big data analytics to analyze customer behavior. One example of this is Spotify. It uses Hadoop big data analytics to collect, analyze, and give informed music recommendation. Big data provided in this sector include Infochim's pervasive software. Now I would request Sheenam to continue the presentation. Over to Sheenam.
Thank you, Tamkana. Now I will discuss the challenges associated with big data. Insufficient understanding and acceptance of big data. Oftentimes, companies fail to know even the basics, what big data actually is, what its benefits are, what infrastructure is needed. Without a clear understanding, a big data adoption project is to be doomed to failure. Confusing variety of big data technology. It can be easy to get lost in the variety of big data technology now available in the market. If you are exploring the ocean of technological opportunities without a clear view of what you need, there will be more chances to get lost in the market. Paying lots of money, big data adoption project entails a lot of expenses. If you opt for an on-premises solution, you will have to mind the cost of new hardware, software, setup, electricity, and so on. Complexity of managing data quality. Sooner or later, you will run into the problem of data integration. Data is coming from different sources in different formats. And to analyze this data, we need to match these formats, which will be problematic. We have security check. Quite often, big data adoption projects put security off till later stages. Big data technologies do evolve, but the security feature is still neglected. Tricky process of converting big data into valuable insights. Now it's over to Jishan.
Now we have key learnings. Number first is the trends in big data. We know more than 5 billion people across the globe are generating big data in the form of text, messages, calls, etc. Now here is the question, how fast big data is being generated. So for this, I would like to share some facts and figures. New videos of 48 hours are uploaded on YouTube every minute of the day, and 571 new websites are created every minute of the day, and 30 billion pieces of content are shared on the Facebook every month. Next, big data as an opportunity. Collecting and analyzing big data from the past can help us to identify the consumer pattern and exploring the new opportunities. And companies already collect data in the form of reviews. Social content can also help us improve the customer services. Then we have big data can be cause of concern. We know we individually puts our data on websites and application. This big data can be a threat to our personal privacy. And we also know that organizations have their own websites and they put a lot of confidential information are available there. So this big data can cause a threat to their security if it is hacked. Now, finally, we have future prospects of big data. The volume of big data is continuously increasing, and therefore it is expected that more and more company will adopt big data analytics, and it will give rise to the new technologies, and hence it will grow the overall economic growth. In addition, McKinsey Global Institute prospects that big data will be increasing at such higher rate, there will be shortage of big data analytics expert. And IDC says that volume of big data will be increased by 5 times by 2025. That's all. Thank you very much. Now we are open to the questions.
I have a question to ask to Ashutosh.
Relevant questions, 2 relevant questions we can take. Yes.
I have a question to ask
yes,
to
Kritika, you
Ashutosh.
asking something?
Yes, ma'am. To Ashutosh, I want to ask. He discussed about the sources of big data. So I want to ask, how big data is used in IoT. IoT is the Internet of Things. So how it is useful in IoT? Can he or anyone in the group can tell me about it?
Yes, surely I can answer that. Thank you for asking. So as we all know that many devices are being developed nowadays in which IoT is being used. Not only the mobile phones or laptops, IoT is now being used in medical devices, automobiles, and many other sources which are being incorporated with IoT. So it helps us is now becoming or evolving as a big source of big data nowadays. I hope so. I have clarified your question.
Wait, Ashutosh, let me add a point to it. Like, IoT and big data share a symbiotic relationship. And to understand that connection, we need to know some of the steps that are basically involved in the overall workflow. Companies usually install sensor-embedded devices to collect and transmit data. A huge amount of data, which is called big data, is also collected in respiratory in the form of both structured as well as an unstructured form of data. And reports, charts, and other forms of data are also generated using the AI-driven analytics. So big data storage is both respiratory and a source of data as well. Adding more and more IoT devices can make AI models more complex and collect heavier volumes of big data. So that is why it is important to invest basically in hardware as well as optimize infrastructure design.
May I ask a question?
I have a question. Someone told about security holes in big data. Someone of you talk about security holes. How will you maintain or protect your big data? And can you please ways to protect? Can you please find the ways to protect data? How will you protect your data?
Yes, Sheena mentioned one of the challenges is the security holes in big data. So basically, there are two aspects in which we can protect big data. One is the software side or the technical side, which the companies are working on, and another side is the legal side. So first, talking about the IT side, there are many ways to control it. Like we can use the encryption, or we can provide the policy-based user access control. Plus, there are many things used beyond firewall, like the intrusion and detection prevention programs. They work in accordance with the firewall, so they help in prevention of the data. Now, another side is the legal side. So basically, when the government develops policy or makes policy and make it a criminal offense to hack or do such things, the violation of the rules. So for it, the data protection bill is being formed. So it is a big challenge nowadays, and it is being tackled upon.
I would also like to add some points here. The precaution against the big data security challenges is putting security first. It is particularly important at the stage of designing the solutions architecture. If you don't get along with this, it will bite you when you least expect it. There are also some kind of software which we can install to secure our data, like anti-malware and Firefox.
So I have a question, like as a student, how can big data benefit us?
Thank you, Roj. I would like to answer that question. See, when we were given this topic, my first approach was to search it on Google, and obviously Google provided me with certain informations. So all these informations are stored in Google in the form of big data. And if I have to name some sites famous among students, it will be ResearchGate, Wikipedia, and even in YouTube. All these datas, all these videos are stored in the form of big data, and we benefit from them.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question for the group. You talked about the V's. When you talk of big data, you talk of the V's. You talk of, I think, volume, velocity, and what was the third?
Variety.
Variety. This fourth we added. Are you aware of it? Volume. The question of big data comes because we are generating huge volumes of data and has been very well presented by you, because the sources from which we generate data has increased. The multiple n number of sources. Okay, so that is
Remember,
Is
we could,
volume. The second is what do you talk variety? Okay, we have structured data and unstructured data, and structured is one which we have planned for, like say for instance customer information, the order. But the unstructured data is the many kind of information that we get through blogs, postings, etc., which is not does not have a structured form, and that holds 80% of valuable information. What was the third V that you talked of?
variety.
Yes.
Variety.
Volume and variety is taken up. What's the third one you talked about?
Velocity.
Velocity.
Volume, velocity, and variety.
The speed with which data is generated. So we have volume, we have variety, that is structured as well as unstructured data, and the third is volume, variety, and velocity. That is the speed at which data is being generated is very fast. There's a fourth V, which is veracity. Veracity is the inconsistency in data. There is, which we called in colloquial term, noise. So there are so much data which has been generated, which we call veracity, which in fact diverts you from the mainstream. So that is noise, that is irrelevant data. So it is very necessary for you to screen out as to what is essential and what is of relevance to me and what is not of relevance to me. So that is a fourth aspect. So we have 4 V's now, not 3 V's. But yet it was very good presentation, very systematically presented, and I think a good coverage of what needed to be covered under big data. So we can call Love's group has presentation is over.
Thank you,
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'll
Thanks a
get
lot.
back to
Thank
you
you, ma'am.
with the comments. I'll get back to you with the comments once all the presentations are over. But it was a good presentation and well
Okay, ma'am.
answered as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Next
much.
group
Okay,
can
thank you,
come.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, somebody has a query?
Yes, ma'am. We were the group that presented yesterday, and we didn't had any questions from your side. So,
Okay,
are
we'll
there
do
any
it at the
questions
end.
from us?
We'll do it at the end. Yes, yes, we'll do it at the end. Good, you pointed out. I was in a dilemma whether I did ask you or I didn't ask you.
No, ma'am.
We'll
You
do it
didn't
at the
ask
end.
any question. Okay, ma'am.
Next group can share the slides.
Yes, ma'am.
Uruju's group can come.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Shall we begin?
Yes, you may begin. Uruju's group can begin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, our group will be presenting on the topic Big Data in Retail Sector. So today we will learn about what is Big Data, the 5 E's, retail industry at a glance, the big 6 uses of retail, big data in retail, areas of application, challenges, complexities, and benefits. To begin with, I would like to make a statement that we all use smartphones, but have you ever wondered how much data it generates in the form of photos, videos, searches, etc.? Approx 40 exabytes of data gets generated per month. Now, imagine this number multiplied by 50 billion smartphone users. That's a lot for our mind to even process, isn't it? In fact, this number is a lot for the traditional computing systems to even process. Now, by definition, big data is the term for collection of data sets so large and complex that it becomes difficult to process using on-hand database system tools or traditional data processing applications. Do you know that per minute, 1 million people log on to Facebook, 2.1 million stars are played on Snapchat, 3.8 million searches are made on Google, 4.5 million videos are watched on YouTube, and 188 emails are sent. So how do you classify any data as big data? The answer to this is that any data that exhibits the characteristics of the 5 V's is termed as big data. Now, Divyank will continue with the 5 V's.
Thank you, Ru. The 5 V's of the big data are variety. First one is variety, second volume, third velocity, fourth veracity, and 5 is the value. So we can say that the first one is variety. The variety, we can say the big data consists of structured data, unstructured data, and semi-structured data. In structured data, the well-defined format of rows and column consists the data, which is very well known to the person and easy to understand. In the unstructured data, the video clips and audio clips and other data are included. In semi-structure, the combination of both structured and unstructured data are consist. This is called the variety of the big data. The second one is the volume. Volume is defined as the size of the big data. What is the size of the data? It is in bits, megabytes, terabytes, and gigabytes. It is called the volume of the big data. The third one is the velocity. The velocity is defined as the speed at which the data is generated and transferred from one system to the another system. It is called the velocity of the big data. The fourth one is the veracity. Veracity, we can say the truthfulness or accuracy of the big data. How much extent the data is accurate and if data is uncertain and inconsistency in the big data is known as the veracity. The fifth one is the value. Value we can define as is big data is helpful to achieving the goal of the organization. So what is the value of the big data in analyzing the problem is known as the value of the big data. Now my part is over. Now my group partner Sabha will continue the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Divyang. Good afternoon, everyone present over here. Let's talk about retail industry at glance. By retail industry, we mean that market includes all those activities that involve sales of goods or services by company directly to consumers that are usually purchased for personal or family uses. Now let's talk about retail industry in India in brief. Market size. The Indian retail market is largely unorganized. However, India's retail has increased by 50% between 2012 to 2020 to its current value nearly 12 of total retail, 12% of total retail. The modern Indian retail industry is expected to grow at 15% compound annual rate to reach 18% by 2025. Major retail segments such as apparel and accessories 18%, consumer electronics 6%, and home living 6% will drive the increase in organized retail. Next, formats which are used in retail industry such as fully digital. It is an online based channel with no physical store legacy such as Amazon Flip. Hybrid. It is a mixed channel of physical and digital store. Digital store. Online purchase with pickup at a store. In-store purchase with delivery at home. Third, offline. It is also known as brick and mortar, in which a retailer sell product through storefront location in person, such as local kirana shops. Thank you. Now Shubham Goyal will continue with the next slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabha. Good afternoon, everyone. Now I will start the big 6 steps of data processing in big data, basically in retail industry sector. Now these 6 steps are data mining, data collection, data storage, data cleaning, data analysis, data consumption. Now I will start from data mining. So what is basically data mining? There are basically two focus terms in data mining, that are data extraction and data mining. If simply put, data extraction is a process of collecting all data from web pages into your database, whereas data mining is a process of identifying valuable insights within that database. Thus, data is collected by data scientists for further analysis. For example, you are an e-commerce grocery site owner. After using various research techniques, you concluded that approximately 70% people wear jeans. This is called data extraction. Now you have to go deeper to understand which age, gender, and type of people use brand 1 and brand 2 jeans. This process is known as data mining. Some of the useful data mining tools include RapidMiner. Now, second point is data collection. In this point, big data doesn't have an end button, as we know that. As the word grows, data will keep on streaming in. Data needs to be extracted constantly. From the above example, there will be people who wear brand 1 have switched to brand 2 and so on. The possibilities are endless here. Now, third point is data storing. Ever imagined how Google must be storing so much of word data? Of course, not on traditional systems like files, CDs, DVDs, pen drives, etc. Google, Facebook, Apple, etc. run on hyperscale computing environments. Which type of storage you should use depends on the scale of your business. A good data storage system provides an infrastructure which has all the latest data, analytics, tools, and storage space. You can store your data on data storage providers like Cloudera. Thank you. Over to Mr. Vikas Gautam.
Thank you, Shubham. Good afternoon, everyone. Now we will see what data cleaning is. Basically, data can come in all forms and degrees, some good and some not so good, especially if extracted from the web. All data extracted needs to be cleaned. In the cleaning process, all the unwanted and inaccurate data is filtered out. After this process, we will be left with what we actually want to focus on. Now, fifth step is data analysis. The biggest part of big data is the analytics. While analyzing the data, we came across our targeted audience, their pattern and behavior. Basically, exploratory research method proves to be very helpful in analyzing big data. Analytics is basically about a specific question and finding answers to it. Now, last step is data consumption. Data is consumed in various verticals, which include identifying retail trends in the market, using which business can highlight their top selling products. It is also used by various government bodies in order to reach out to the correct demographics, geographics, and ethnicities. Now, Mr. Faisal will continue.
Thank you, Vikas. Use of big data in retail industry. First, customer behavior analytics. Data engineering is the key to unlocking the insight from your customer behavior. Data both structured and unstructured because you can combine, integrate, and analyze all the data at once to generate the insight, drive, and acquisition and loyalty. Second, predict the customer lifetime value. Lifetime value is the monetary value of transaction and purchases made by the customer within your business over an entire lifetime. By this, retailer can predicting the customer lifetime purchases and understanding the customer behavior. Third, risk management analytics. Big data analytics has combined greatly into the development of risk management solution by helping the company to oversee the potential risk before it occurs. Fourth, pricing. By gaining access to insight or on real-time customer transaction, retailer can use the big data to better understanding which prices yield the best result on the particular product. Fifth, recommendation engine. Recommendation on product based on similar user behavior, personalizing, taking into account different past behavior actions. Sixth, market prediction. Big data can help the brands to make a key market prediction and forecast consumer trend. Analyzing and understanding how the customer came to make an purchase is an excellent way for retailers to understand the customer buying pattern. Now my friend Shubham will continue with the presentation.
Thank you, Faisal. Now we are discussing about areas of application of big data. Retailers are faced with a rapidly changing retail scene and fresh competitive challenges as a result of new and enhanced technological advances. To address these developments, retailers are increasingly employing big data solutions to capture enormous volumes of data in order to get more in-depth insights into their operations and understand customer expectations. Retailers can predict the next customer actions, provide excellent customer service, understand customer demand, forecast key market trends, and create value cross-channel shopping experiences. In retail industry, big data is probably applicable in most of the areas. Here, we are discussing some of them. First of all, in clothing business, as a result of the rise of big data, the clothing industry is seeing changes in the way designers create and market their products. Fashion appeals to almost everyone throughout the world, regardless of position, power, or culture. Yet different customers choose different clothes. Big data delivers crucial information to designers, enabling them to create products that will sell well. The clothing industry is constructed on a delicate balance of numerous factors and obstacles such as fluctuating trends, client budgets, and lack of uniform sizes. And big data in retail industry is already addressing these concerns. In grocery stores, grocery retailers know a lot more about us than we realize. With each in-store purchase, vital data on the client is captured and used by grocery store chains and supermarkets to track these customers back in. Real-time big data collection allows grocery stores to forecast the potential sales and demand of their items through predictive analytics. highlighting which items are in demand and those to discard. This solution reduces overall inventory cost, ensure high demand items are always in stock, and increases potential revenue. Overall, it helps supermarkets and grocery stores to better manage their inventory and have the optimized amount of stock for each item. Lastly, in pharma industry, pharmaceutical companies have always relied big data in order to identify patterns, test theories, and understand the efficacy of treatments. In pharma industry, big data helps in accelerating drug discovery and its development. Secondly, optimizing and improving the efficacy of clinical trials. And lastly, targeting specific patient populations and analyzing patient behavior more effectively. That's all. Thank you very much. Now Mr. Aman will continue the presentation.
Thank you, Shubham. Big data in e-commerce can be used to predict the trends in the market, for price optimization, for demand forecasting, for generating more sales, and optimizing customer service. It is also helping maintaining their inventory. In multi-channel stores, big data can be used to find the answers to questions like where to open a store, which platform to be used, which are performing well, which stores has the highest profit. With the help of big data, we can analyze the past and present sales. We can understand the customer demographics and replicating the best practices across the stores. Thank you. That's all from my side. Now Imran will continue.
Thank you, Aman. Now I will continue with the challenges of big data in retail sector. Basically, we are facing five main challenges of big data in retail sector. First one is big data project. The most critical question arises for the company that need to answer what data sources should they analyze and is the data is clean and reliable. The second challenge is ensuring that the data collected is accurate and identifiable. In retail business, there are multiple factors that data could go wrong. Accurate data is essential to have the right prediction. For example, a customer may use various payments method for a single transaction. The way data is qualified in a big scenario is extremely important and an important hurdle since the customer is generally unpredictable who cannot be pigeonholed into fixed segment of behavior. The third challenge is ensuring big data security and compliance. The aspect of data security is a hurdle that one must pass for a successful big data implementation. The fourth challenge is ensuring timely adoption of implemented technology. In the retail business, there are many ways to capture data. For example, if data is gathering from customers viewing product while their views captured by eye scanners or an entry into the inventory software for every new warehouse delivery, then there is a device that either needs to be run by a human or it some routine maintenance. The last challenge is customer concerns over privacy. The customer concerns over privacy delay the retailer from implementing big data applications because it can prevent retailers from using customer data for specific operational decisions. Now, I would like to hand over the presentation to Mr. Akhirwar for further discussion.
Thank you, Imran. Now we'll see the complexities in retail. There are four types of complexities. The first one is product or demand related complexities. It relates to the high number of products and its relational complexity arising out of demand. It is hence related to the volume, which was discussed by my friend Divyang. To manage these complexities, the outlets are constantly optimizing their resources to improve their efficiency. Now we move on to supply side challenges. The supply of products depends on large number of suppliers, and each supplier has a complex relationship with retailers or platforms. This relationship affects the availability of resources and in turn their prices. The third complexity is a process complexity. Most of the large retail outlets have so many touch points and geographical presence that these lead to complexity in the process itself because the strategies are different for different regions. Now, the last complexity is related to the scaling. In this context, any business which wants to grow would always like to scale up, be it in the increase of number of stores, categories, or customers. Hence, it increases the other three complexities as well. In order to manage the scaling, we need data support and analytics which help to scale the business faster. Now, I'll request Ms. Tabriz to take over the presentation.
Try to wind up fast. Another 5 minutes.
Is Tasmia there in the meeting?
I think she has lost her connection.
Shall we move to the conclusion then?
Rayan, you continue.
Is Rayan also not present?
I think they left because of network problem. Tasmia joined.
Yes.
Thank you, Akhil. Good afternoon, everybody. Now I'll take it from here. Benefits in retail sector. First benefit is market knowledge. Better understanding of current market conditions is possible by accessing big data. Let's take an example of analyzing a customer's purchasing behavior. A company can find out the products which are sold most. It helps to analyze the trend and what customers want. Now moving to the second benefits, that is online reputations. Big data controls online reputations. We can use big data for sentimental analysis. You can use it to get feedback about your company and organizations. Now moving to the third one, that is new product developments. Using big data analytics, trends of customer need and satisfactions can be analyzed. This can further help to develop a whole new product according to their requirements. Now fourth one is cost saving. Using big data tools like Hadoop and cloud-based analytics, cost saving in business can be done when large amounts of data is there. Then these tools help to handle and maintain that data in more efficient ways. Now, fifth one is recruitment employee. Recruiting companies scan candidates' resume and LinkedIn profiles using keywords. Now, sixth one, that is time reduction. High-speed tools like Hadoop and in-memory analytics can easily identify new sources of data. As a result, this helps in immediate analysis of business data and making decisions based on the learning. That's all from my side. Please, Ryan, continue with the next slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Tasmia. In conclusion, I would like to say that in this ever-growing digital world, big data is everywhere. And in the retail sector, it is astonishing to see how big data is growing endlessly. Almost everything we do online can be analyzed. Big data is the future of retail industry, and to survive and succeed in this ever advancing digital world, customer insights are the biggest wealth retailers can ever have. If not exploited properly and on time, a retailer would stand to fall behind the rest of the pack. Big data has endless advantages and can take your business to unimaginable heights. Some of the crucial advantages are commercial impact of the big data have the potential to generate significant productivity growth for the various types of retail sector. It presents the opportunity to create unprecedented business advantages. Through big data, challenges and issues are handled effectively and in an efficient manner. In the end, I would like to give a quote of Daniel Kimoran. You can have data without information, but you cannot have information without data. That's all from our side. Now we are open for questioning.
We can allow just one question.
Yes, ma'am. Someone mentioned about Hadoop in your presentation. Can anyone tell me what actually it is and what are its major functions?
Okay, thank you. Hadoop is a Java
Ma'am, I
based.
would like to answer. Ma'am,
Hadoop is a Java based
Can
software.
you know ask the question?
Ma'am, Jishan Ali.
Okay, Zishan, fine. Go ahead.
Okay, Jishan, thank you. Hadoop is a Java based software. It is an open source. Then we can store data in it. Okay, these major functions are firstly it providing a distributed file system to big data sets. Okay, and secondly major function is that transforming the data set into useful informations using the MapReduce programming model.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have just one question for you. I think it's the previous group. Why do you think a lot of, let's say, a great application in the area of
And your voice echoed. Can you please pardon?
I want to know why you think has a application in retail.
Your voice.
Ma'am,
Your voice not clear, ma'am.
Okay, we leave it for the next session. We can call it a day, and we meet at 3 o'clock for the next group of presentations.